All right, everyone, good evening. Welcome back to the channel. I thank you for your time. I hope you had a wonderful Labor Day weekend. I wanted to, just have the weekend be peaceful and non-drama, but unfortunately the Cradle of Filth drama continues to happen, and a lot of things have happened in the last 3 or 4 days. So thank you so much for everyone who watched the first video I posted about 4 or 5 days ago. We gained 10 subscribers. I think I replied to almost every comment, and I wanted to make sure I addressed everyone. Again, I'm just a fan of the band and the people in the band, and I want to give my 2 cents on it. I have some information, but not all of it. So I definitely recommend doing your own research. Follow fellow metal YouTuber Wyatt's Metal, or Wyatt. Shout out to him and his band and his thing going on. Shout out to obviously Cradle, the Cradle fans, and everyone involved. Without further ado, I just wanted to say all that. Thank you. Let's get into the content. So we're gonna start off with the post Zoe made 3 days ago, which is just a blank black picture on her Instagram, and she said it's an untrue statement from multiple angles, and our lawyer's response is coming. That's all for now. Now, Ashok, her husband, had the exact same post at that point. So that was the first thing Zoe said, right? Then we're gonna move to the next statement. This was now 2 days ago, and she said it was another black picture. And this one, again, I'm gonna be reading. You can find all this information on their individual Instagrams. I'll tell you who I'm reading from at each time, so it's easier for you to follow along. I will also have the pictures over here. Zoe says, given recent events, we'd like to issue further statement. The definition of defamation is making untrue statements with the intent to cause harm. Unlike the statement of Daniel Davy, so for those of you who know, Daniel Davy is Dani Filth, or vocalist for Cradle of Filth. Every statement we have made thus far is true and provable. Cradle of Filth and their management, Bradley, Des, Fafara, steal from and exploit musicians, and we will continue demonstrating this via the legal route. For our former frontman to try and use trivial matters like supposed marital spats is laughable, but the rest of the accusations, including alcoholism and drinking while pregnant, are quite serious. And I mentioned that in my last video. If Danny was just saying things like that just to be petty or to stir the pot without it being true or anything, that opens him up for a possible defamation, and that's the Cradle lawsuit, man. I don't think we expected that happening this year, but 2025 has just been giving us all kinds of wacky things, man. But let's continue. Additionally, to take a comment out of context about Sharon Osbourne is quite serious, especially given that during the same day, we have an audio recording of Davey relaying Fafara's alleged opinions of her. We do not wish to involve the Osbourne family in this matter, especially in their time of grief, and we advise Davey and Fafara to end this here. We wish the Osbourne family well. We are going public to protest the theft and exploitation we and others have suffered at the hands of Daniel Davey and Bradley Des Fafara, who I have now recently learned is a member of Devil Driver. So again, my first video, I didn't know who he was, but now I've done more research and I've learned. So Fafara doesn't seem like the greatest of people from a lot of people's opinions. That is the core of the issue here, and we ask you not to be distracted by the rambling and instead raise awareness for the rights of musicians. That is all for now, and we thank you for your support, which I totally support as a drummer, as a musician, and I've had, some experiences playing live shows here and there and working on music videos and other things. I definitely know it can be a challenging environment, very stressful. Sometimes everything happens all at once. So I agree with Zoe that while we are talking about the drama happening here, we should definitely raise awareness that musicians playing in bands that are touring and doing all these things, they should be paid more evenly or fairer, right? And yes, you could have the argument of the original members versus stand-in session musicians, but those are still people that took the time to learn the instrument, master it, then develop some sort of social media profile or something. Because if you don't know, you could play super crazy guitar or drums or whatever, but if nobody really knows who you are, or you're just out of nowhere, and nowadays everything is about social media. So a lot of labels or even bands, they'll be like, we don't, you're good, but do you have a following or anything, just because it could help the band out or anything? Now, that's my opinion on how I've seen things in the industry in Southern California. Feel free to chime in otherwise, but it is a concern. So I definitely agree with Zoe that we should look out for everybody. And whether you're a session musician or original member, you still had to learn the songs, and take time out of your life, which you never get back. Remember, we don't get time back, right? So you should get paid fairer. I'm not saying it has to be exactly split because the band still needs to make money, but I feel like it should be more than what they said was like $215 a day, which was like 200 pounds. That's ridiculous, you know? And then remember, they don't get paid when they're not actually playing. So when they're not on tour, they're not making money. So it's wild. And we're going to learn so much more about the music business, thankfully, probably because of all the drama here. So we're in for a wild, long ride, everybody. But let's keep going. So that was Zoe's post 2 days ago. And she tagged Marek Ashok Šmerda, her husband, which I'm guessing will be the same post he had on his Instagram. This is a post that she made 14 hours ago responding to Dani's post. I'm going to start with Zoe first, then I'm going to go to Marek, and then I'm going to finish with Dani. So make sure you watch the whole video to get all of the coverage. But if you want to skip around, let me know, and then I can add timestamps in the post editing and all that stuff, so you guys don't have to watch the whole thing. But it really does help my little channel grow, and I really want to make more content for you guys, so please do so. And thank you for the 10 subscribers. We're like at 704 right now. That's amazing. So anyway, the most recent post Zoe made says, "We'd like to issue a statement in response to the most recent one by Dani Filth. We consider it a positive step. So hooray, positivity. We know your mother is battling cancer and we wish her well in this. As I recall, I'm one of the first people in the band that you told. I've been praying for her ever since, and I condemn anyone who tries to drag her into this." Yeah, guys, people of the internet and the world, leave people that are not in the band or related to the actual band out of it, like calling out family members, friends, or anything that are not directly involved. Let's not do that, guys. Like, they have their own things to worry about. Band drama is just band drama. Like, let's just keep it within that concise unit. Let's keep going. That said, we didn't go public with personal issues we've had involving anyone's day-to-day behavior. We strongly support anyone's journey in sobriety. Our focus remains the business issues and the business environment. We dispute any claim that alcoholism or alcohol use led to this current situation. We maintain it was months of trying to talk to you, Dan, trying to get you to understand the plight of the people who work for you. Your silence and stonewalling became deafening. We left because every indication you gave instilled in us the impression that you didn't care. And what's worse, you did indeed allow management to mislead and lie to us. The responsibility for these things at the end of the day falls on you. We are disappointed that you went for personal issues and speculation on our marriage, and we still have no plans to go for personal attacks on you. We want the best for you and your new family with Sophia. We want you to get better as a leader, Dan. We want you to run the band better and treat people better. No one wants the end of Cradle of Filth as an artistic concept. It's an institution of great creativity that gives people joy. We and others want the end of you letting bad deals hurt people. We tried to talk to you for months about all of this. It didn't have to go this way. Take care of the people who write music for you and play shows for you. We will probably and unfortunately see you next in court, but never doubt for a moment I can see the human being in you and the twinges of a conscience. Peace be with you. So that is a very interesting statement from Zoe. It does not seem like she wants the fight, right? It just seems that she just wants Dani to take accountability, to fix things for future musicians and current musicians in the band, and, you know, to leave their personal business out of it, which is totally fair, right? I do agree with Zoe in there. You shouldn't, Dani and no one else should be going after personal things because, and I mentioned in the last video, that opens up for defamation. And as a big time Cradle of Filth fan, since I was maybe like 7 years old, I wouldn't want to see the end of the band be because of defamation. That would be horrible. Nobody can survive legal battles. They're so expensive. But anyway, so I think Zoe kind of ended it on a positive note with like a twist of, well, if I guess we'll just have to see you in court because you're not gonna, like, you know, see otherwise. And unfortunately, some people do learn the hard way with it, which is paying money. So hopefully Dani can, if he has an ego complex or type of thing, can get off his high horse and just hear them out and just be like, you know what? I messed up. I shouldn't have gone that far. I apologize to you guys both. Something along those lines, right? Like, it's okay to be wrong. It is. So hopefully Dani can go from that. And this is just based on Zoe's. We're going to go now to Ashok and then Dani, and maybe things will change, but this is what we're going with. So that was the most recent post on Zoe. Then we are here now at Ashok. So let's see, in Ashok's Instagram, same thing. The first post after my video was that it's an untrue statement from multiple angles and our lawyers are coming, so we already covered that. And the second one, which is the same thing, Zoe and Ashok have been like tagging each other on the same post. This one being the given recent events, we'd like to issue for a statement about defamation and all that. So we already covered that through Zoe. Moving on. So Ashok's most recent post as of right now is 8 hours ago, right? And it's a picture of his hands. So that's the post we're going to talk about now. And it's a lengthy one. It says, to Dan after last post. And I believe this will be end of public statements from my side and my wife's as long as it is end from his side. I know this is grating everyone. Me too. But private combos did not sort anything for months. Understand it was last resort to go public. I'm usually most silent person even when I am hurt, which is probably why it took 12 years to probably say all this. Here are my hands, the hands I used to serve you for 12 years, to write and play music for you. I gave you these hands. Your mom is always great. Your mom is always a great person to me and I wish her healing. Her heart is huge as far as I ever knew. However, it feels low to me to use her right now as excuse when we all know she's been sick since last year. Everyone has been there for you and supportive, Dan. We all give so much love and support for her as soon as you tell us. I lost my own mother to sudden medical tragedy, and I never even said goodbye to her. There was no time. She never saw me on stage with Cradle. She haunts me every day, but her memory tells me to be a better man and treat others better. I would never use her as an excuse for hurting others. But if you respect mothers, then why twist our tragedy of miscarriage into something that was not true of my wife? She never drank while pregnant. However, her doctor told her the lack of sleep, irregular schedule, constant pressure of management threatening her job if she did anything they didn't like, all of this is more than likely contributed to her body rejecting pregnancy. She exhibits high signs of the stress she is under. It is true we cannot blame it all on you, but for you to assume she was drinking when the pregnancy was low, because we all know there is very little that is worse to accuse a woman of killing her own child. I saw many times the rest of the band would protest or argue with you in management, but only Zoe was singled out to be mocked and punished. Even now your fans call her crazy, but I can guarantee every man in the band has said the same things she is saying. I am saying it too. There was never same respect for my wife there was for opinions of the men. You once had my respect and full loyalty. Respect you lost a while ago, and loyalty you threw away not long ago. Even when I stopped respecting you, when it was obvious you did not care about us, I stayed loyal until you respond to heartfelt plea to give us better chance for living with that sordid contract, which every session member knows you sent with instructions to sign as soon as possible. No one has a shitty contract just lying around to be sent by mistake. To not take ownership even now for the many ways in which you screw us all is not surprising, but it's still sad, Dan. Because again, even after years of being treated disposable, I wrote my heart and soul into albums for you. Because I love music and I love the joy of the fans. It is sad that you could not take responsibility for these issues in private, and now they are public. So we all are caught in giant storm. This is on you for not allowing anything to be handled privately. Just ignore everything we tried to tell you for a long time. I wish I could see a man when I look at you, but I don't. I see excuses. In time, all will come to light, as I do not believe we will be last to say anything, although it is now obvious why 40 other ex-members never did say much. It has been hell for us to speak up, but I do not regret it. Treat my brothers still in the band better. If there is any honor left in you, they are damn good people and will always have my love and support. That is the entire goal we have. And that is it for Zoe and Ashok's point of view. So now we're going to Dani's message, which he posted 14 hours ago. So probably around the same time, Ashok posted the picture with his hands, which was a response to now this message. So here's what Dani said, guys. First, I'll acknowledge that in my last message, I let fatigue and frustration steer me to sharing more personal detail than was probably necessary. For that, I apologize. The truth of my account remains, but out of respect for everyone involved, I will not be commenting further on personal matters in public. What I must address, however, are the claims of theft and exploitation made against me, the band, and our management. These allegations are false and damaging. We maintain clear records to show otherwise, and any dispute will be dealt with properly, not through trial by social media. I also want to speak of something more personal. As Zoe and Ashok are aware, my mother is currently battling stage 4 cancer, a fight that takes all her strength. She has seen the wave of online attacks aimed at me, and it has only added to her distress. Whatever else is said, I hope we can all agree that dragging families into this storm is a cruelty none of us should wish on another. To Zoe and Ashok, despite everything, I do wish you well. We shared great times together and I'll always be grateful for those memories. But I won't let unfounded slander define this band or diminish the work we've put into it. The show must go on and it's not a Christmas pantomime. Our focus remains on delivering these shows with the passion our fans deserve and on building a stronger, clearer foundation for all our musicians moving forward. Onward, Dani Filth of Cradle of Filth. And I believe that is all Dani has posted recently. So how do I feel about this? Let's covering everything we covered from both Zoe and Ashok. It seems like Dani does kind of like a backhanded apology, right? So he does acknowledge and that he messed up, but it's because of fatigue and frustration. It's not because he actually thought back on everything and was like, oh dang, like thinking back, this was not correct, this was not appropriate, I shouldn't have said that. So to me, as much as I have respect and love for Dani as a musician and Cradle and everything, that doesn't exactly seem like he's actually apologetic. It just seems that he's trying to cover his own behind at this point. That's the first thing I noticed. The second thing that I noticed is he tries to once again cover the claims of theft and exploitation, but we've seen other members, 40 other members from Cradle, start talking about what they went through under the management of Dez and Dani, and it goes back to that saying, if 100 other people have a problem with the same person, at that point it's not the other people, it's you who's the problem. So I think Dani really needs to get off his ego and actually be like, okay, it's almost like let me sit down, all of you, what is your complaint, and go one by one type of thing. Unfortunately, it looks like we are going to be heading to court, everybody. So Cradle of Filth tour in court is what's happening. And yeah, so it seems, and now I don't know what the actual management and Dani power relationship is. I don't know if management controls Dani or Dani controls management. We saw in his post that management works for him, so that means that Dani has a lot say in a lot of things. So then you can't really say that management, Dani cannot at any point further blame management because management answers to him, right? And so I don't know if he's aware that he's kind of created this like shooting himself in the foot situation in that aspect, but we'll move on from that. Then he talks about, talking about the personal stuff, and I could see where both Zoe and Ashok feel like Dani is using his mother's cancer as a scapegoat and all that stuff, which, again, anyone with any sort of terminal disease, that's just horrible, like cancer, like that's just horrible, and I wish Dani's mom all the best, and obviously Dani himself, at least with that, because we love our mothers, we support our mothers and all of that good stuff. That being said, the way he kind of writes it, it just kind of like throws it like, well, I also just wanted to mention this, but Dani was the first one to throw personal things out there, right? We covered that Dani was the first one, because remember, Zoe just said she left the band for her own reasons, and then Ashok was the one who started like getting a little more aggressive after everyone was thinking that was asking Zoe if Ashok had done something against her or like whatever. But then Dani came out and he was like, no, he dropped the mic. He's like, no, these people did this, and this. So I feel like Dani doesn't have a lot to ground to talk about personal things when he was the one who kind of started the whole thing. And yeah, I obviously can't understand where he's coming from, because his mom cares about him, and this has been Dani's livelihood for the past 30-40 years. So if now he's going to be possibly canceled or no one's going to want to work with him or blah, 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 it's going to affect his livelihood. And so I can see where as a mother you would be stressed, like, well, my son's going to basically lose his job and all that. But Dani's the one who's bringing this situation to the light. So it does come off, it does read as him throwing it out there as an excuse. Y'all feel me there? So I don't know how I feel about Dani's response there. Then he goes, despite everything, I do wish you well. So it does seem that he's trying to be like amicable, like keep the peace, but he again backhanded with saying like, but if you keep slandering me or this stuff, I'm not gonna let that happen. So I feel like we're seeing a struggle between Dani's humanity and Dani's ego, right? So I don't know. I'm genuinely concerned, and I want to know what you guys think based on all this information. Do you guys think that Cradle is gonna be able to survive all of this drama and possible litigation, or could this be the end of Cradle of Filth? And if so, hopefully you saw them, because you never know, right? And yeah, he talks about the show must go on and so on. And I agree, the show must go on, and hopefully the drama can die down and everyone can come to a peaceful ending. But the way everything's reading right now, it does seem like, guys, we're headed to court. I'm calling it now. I think we're headed to court. Hopefully everything, works out and go from there. But again, if you have any further thoughts, comments, please comment down below. I will be reading every comment. I will be liking the comment and hearting the comment and replying. Again, I don't know everything. I have very little limited knowledge, just probably like you guys, but I just want to talk about it because this situation is both intriguing from a musician and a fan, right? So yeah, thanks so much for hanging out this long in the video. I'm trying to keep them short, or not too long, so you guys can just like listen through them when you're driving to work or cooking or something. But anyway, let me know if you'd like me to cover any other metal related news or just pop culture news. I'm down for that too. I'll give you my 2 cents. But anyway, guys, thank you once again for the video. I hope you had a wonderful Labor Day holiday if you are in the States, or just had a good weekend and anywhere else in the world. And I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.